Hi, I'm Ryan Gass and I'm the owner of Dream Digs. We are a local realty company here in Louisville. We help people buy and sell houses every day. Let's take a look at this month's real estate market data so that when you're ready to buy or sell a home, you have the best information at your disposal. Let's flip over to the computer screen and have a look.
All right, welcome to the computer screen. We are going to take a look at the general snapshot of the real estate market here in Louisville. This being for the last month's worth of data, which is May 2017. Top left corner, we're always keeping an eyeball on the number of listings or active listings available. And you can see here that over the course of the last year, this just continues to be a common theme as I talk with anyone about real estate, and that is that just, the number of available homes to purchase has dropped significantly over the past year, and we knew it was kind of trending down, but man, it is really getting low here. We're coming into the peak selling season. Hopefully we'll see an uptick here in the number of listings available, but active listings, currently active for sale houses, has dropped by 5,200 at the peak to 3,900 or so. So we're talking about 1,300 houses per month that are not available this year versus last year at this time. So that's pretty daggone significant. Okay, let's see what else we can glean here. So next up we have price tag on houses. So the average list price in June of 2016 was $297K. By the end of May, the average listing price is all the way up to $336K. Again, just a significant jump. If you followed my videos, going into fall, winter of last year, I was questioning whether the battle that is going on between buyers and sellers right now would conclude with a victory for buyers going into the fall and winter season, but that in fact has not been the case. It's become the exact opposite. Sellers are continuing to win because we're continuing to see the average asking price go up and buyers are paying for it. This trend line continues to kind of go up here. So, that obviously won't last forever. Markets ebb and flow, they rise and fall. But for now, certainly after the election, looks to me like things have continued to look positive for sellers and tougher for buyers. Next up, let's take a look at the absorption rate. Again, if we look at the quick definition here, you can pause your video, but the absorption rate tells us how long the current inventory of properties would last at the current rate of sale. So how quickly would we sell out of houses at the current rate that houses are selling? And so we can see that absorption rate just continuing to, not only did it fall off like a lead balloon as it has been doing, over the winter time, nonetheless, when that absorption rate should be going up, it's actually gone down, okay, which means buyers are continuing to gobble up houses quicker than sellers are putting them up for sale on the market. And that, again, reflects why we're seeing this rise in prices. The market is never wrong from the standpoint of how buyers and sellers react to one another. So next up, let's look at days on market. This is telling us how long properties sit on the market before they go under contract on average. Anything under 90 days is very healthy, and indeed we continue to see this bedrock bottom average days on the market of between 50 and 60 days. Guys, we got to take into consideration that that's also including, as always, beat up junker West End rental properties that only an investor would buy. Combine that with the super hot markets in Germantown, Highland, St. Matthews, and in certain areas. If properties are priced right and they're in good condition, they're going to be selling very quickly, oftentimes just within days of being on the market. So in fact, I'm dealing with a lot of buyers now, and I've unfortunately got the same story to tell to everybody, and that is that the market is just very, very dry. If you're looking for a home to buy, you're a retail buyer and you're looking for a home to buy and move into and live in, it's just very tough. There just are far less sellers right now than there were last year at this time. Okay, let's shift over and see if we can glean anything else. Okay, looking at some more numbers here on the sold listings. This kind of continues to be a common theme among my videos the last several months. Anything from, let's say, 100,000 below, which we might call, for the most part, let's call those investment grade properties. There are, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of retail buyers in this slot right here. I work with several buyers right now, as a matter of fact, who are looking in this price range. But by and large, there's a lot of investors as well. And so what we're seeing is that, there are a lot less properties being sold in this, let's call it $120,000 mark, all the way down to the $0 price range. There's a lot less of those being sold year over year, certainly year to date. And then this month of this year versus this month of last year, there's just a huge drop. And again, I think it's because buyers in general, since retail buyers outweigh investors for the most part, there are more retail buyers than there are investors in general. They're swimming upstream. Interest rates continue to remain low. The economy is still hanging in there, if not outright improving, from several different stories I'm hearing on the ground. And people are just kind of swimming upstream. Renters are able to buy now. Certainly I deal with a lot of buyers, and a lot of those buyers are currently renting, and they're looking to buy their first home. So a lot of these people are swimming upstream. They've been gobbling up these properties, and that's why we see less of them than we did before. Conversely, when you get up here into what you would traditionally call retail homes, okay, so there's very few investors that are going to be buying a $250,000 house. These are all largely retail buyers. Those number of sold units are increasing, and again, it's because I think a lot of these folks are swimming upstream and kind of gobbling these up and not buying as many of these houses. So it stands to reason that if you are an investor buying in this price range, you've probably got a better shot at doing so this year, because less of them are being sold. Now, does that mean that less of them are available to be purchased to begin with? Probably so, if we scroll back up and look at this number. So I think the pickings are slim for everybody, but that's something to kind of take note of and keep our mind on. Next up, I'm going to debunk a myth that I keep hearing constantly. So let's take a quick look at that before we wrap up. Okay, and so the myth that I'm going to debunk here, something that I keep hearing from some of my seller clients and then other people. You get out and about and you talk to folks about real estate every day, you kind of start to hear some of the same things over and over. And what I'm hearing from a lot of folks is that houses are selling for more than the sellers are asking. Now, while that is true in some cases, in fact, my last two listings, that was the case. I've been hearing, one of my last seller clients was telling me that in their neck of the woods, on average, houses were selling for $5,000 over asking price. Okay. Again, while that happens from time to time on certain individual houses, I can certainly point out to you many, many, many instances where houses either don't sell at all, or they sit there on the market forever because the seller is not being realistic about their sale price or the condition of their home. or they in fact sell for less than what the seller originally listed the house at. So if we just take a quick look here in the 9 major areas in greater Louisville, we can see that if we're looking in this slot right here, the average difference between SP to LP, that's sale price to list price, it's actually negative across the board. Okay, so there isn't one area, let me repeat, there is not one area in greater Louisville where on average properties are selling for more than what they were listed at. In fact, they're selling for less than what they were listed at across the board on average. Okay, again, there's always going to be those outliers that you hear about selling quickly and selling for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 more than what the seller was asking. But it's kind of like that story about your friend who comes back from Vegas. They go to Vegas, once a year, and you seem to always hear from them when they won a couple $100 at the blackjack table. But when they lost their shirt, the story is that the meals were good and the show Cirque du Soleil was a great time. Okay, you never hear the stories about the houses that sold for $5,000 and $8,000 and $4,000 less than what they were listing the house for, because that's obviously not as fun or exciting to hear about. So just kind of debunking that myth. Next video, I'm kind of excited. I'm going to be compiling some data over the last 10 years of our local real estate market to look at that and also debunk some other myths that I constantly hear, which is the fact that prices around here double every 10 years, and that we're just now getting back to where we were at prior to the crash. We'll look at all of that in the next video and kind of debunk some of those myths as well. All right, thanks for watching.